What convinced you to use Warmboard in your home, and has it lived up to the expectation?
I should say that I took some convincing of my wife, but I didn't want a furnace. And the little bit of research that I knew of radiant for heat. I'd never experienced it, but I knew of it. And as I researched it, I think I talked to you guys. We first saw you on Matt Reisinger's blog down in Texas. He talked about it, talked about the efficiency of it, the ease of it, the installation, the plug and play kind of aspect of it. And all of that intrigued me from my architectural background. I liked all that ingenuity and the design. And so after convincing my wife, I knew that that's what we wanted. Plus the simple fact of a furnace, we had experienced it like many people do, where the hot air rises, the floor stays cold, and I just didn't like the unevenness. But besides that, even bigger factor of that was I wanted to be able to heat, say, in our family room, and not necessarily have to heat the bedrooms or her office or the bathrooms. But if we wanted to heat those, then I could turn this heat off in here or down. And so it's much more efficient cost-wise because you're not heating your whole house every time you turn the furnace on.
Yes.
Which is like a furnace. You basically have to heat the whole house in order to get a little space heated. And so that was the biggest thing. And I've been I couldn't be happier.
That's great. And why did you choose Warmboard for this project?
Well, again, going back to the recommendation of Matt Reisinger,
Yep.
He played a huge part in that.
Good.
Did some more research on other kinds. I think the deciding factor, besides his recommendation, was actually like the plug and play aspect of it. Everybody else I talked to, they picked out their boiler, just a lot of different elements. And this was a design system all in one, which I think it just was so much simpler, so much more efficient and easier on the installation. And I couldn't be happier with the performance of it.
And over your experience using Warmboard, would you recommend this to others?
Absolutely, and I have probably 100 times. Anytime somebody comes out here, we end up talking about it because they always invariably ask me where our furnace is. And then I explain to them that we don't have a furnace, and that leads to the discussion of radiant floor. And like I discussed with you, a lot of people are still not that familiar with radiant floor heat, which is kind of surprising. But so yeah, I have recommended it to many people, and you guys specifically, Warmboard specifically, and I explained the same things I talked about, the plug and play, just everything is so simple and goes together so well, and it's perfect.
And tell me about your experience with your framers and what happened initially with putting on the panels. And
Yeah, so our framers challenged us, let's just say, we'll just use that. So when it came time to put down the subfloor, we obviously had our panels, and we had talked to them about, showed them the right side, the right direction, the different panels. We had them all separated out in piles. The problem came when it came time to start the installation. They misread the plans and missed the fact that the panels were supposed to start over in this corner. Instead, they started them on the opposite side of the house. And fortunately, you, Larry, had come out that day to check on the progress, and you caught the mistake. I didn't catch it. And fortunately, they weren't too far along, but they were far enough that it would have been difficult to take up the ones that they had put down at that point. So I was panicked because I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so one of the best parts about this is the way you guys responded. Larry got in touch with your partner, Dave, explained the situation. We're all on the phone, explained the situation. What are we going to do? Between the two of you, you came up with the solution and they basically didn't even think this was possible, but this is what you guys did. You, on the spot, redesigned the whole system, basically flipped it from side to side, which meant we basically had to stop, which was okay, because we're not going in a good direction as there was. So you redesigned the whole system, inverted it. David got it done on the computer, got it done that same day, shipped it out to me next day or UPS. I had it in my hands about 10 o'clock the next morning, and we were able to get back on track. And so we virtually lost maybe a half a day. And I mean, I don't know that anybody else would have done that. You know, number one, you being on site when the project started made all the difference in the world, because otherwise it never would have got caught. But just the whole customer service aspect of that you two put your heads together, came up with a solution, implemented it, got it all fixed, and got the new plans out here within 24 hours. It's just, you can't say much more than that.
The last question I have, I want to talk about the WCS, the Warmboard Comfort System, and how the tradespeople thought about that, how they worked with it, and so overall experience with the tradespeople and how they felt about the Warmboard WCS.
Yeah, a tradesperson who worked with us both with our whole system was Eric Curtis, our plumber. He has a company up in Castle Rock, Mid-Cities Plumbing. Can't say enough about Eric. I get emotional talking about him because he's just such a phenomenal person and a craftsman. I mean, he works so hard and he is so efficient.
Yes.
And he's coming out of Castle Rock, so it's a pretty good drive out.
It's 45 minutes.
It's like 45 minutes to an
Yes.
hour. And he was here on time every day, worked all day, had two guys with him, and they were so efficient. And the way it was laid out, and he talked to you guys. I'll never forget, I'm standing back here watching you guys, and you and he are out here talking about how the loops go, the runs and everything, and he's right down there with you. And then he just implemented the whole plan. Whenever we needed a template to route something a little bit different, he knew. I mean, he's right down there doing it. And he literally installed every bit of the tubing himself. Not one of his guys helped him with the tubing. He did every inch of this tubing himself, installation-wise. And, you know, I mean, we have 1,900 square feet, which, granted, is not the biggest house, but it's a good size for us. And he was so efficient with his time. I want to say he had all the tubing in here in less than a week. Anyway, I think that's pretty good from my standpoint. But Eric he's just a phenomenal person. And I couldn't be happier with him. So,
Thank you very much.